this video, we are going to take what we know about 5-number summaries and we're going to apply it to a pictorial representation of that. In other words, we're going to make a picture of this using something called a box and whisker plot. It's called a box and whisker plot because you get this box, and this box represents 50% of the numbers in your data set, right? This is the middle of your data set. Right here, this is your second quartile, this is your third quartile, and then they call quartile 1, which is your first one, and quartile 4, and it always goes up in number the higher the numbers get, right? They call 1 and 4 the whiskers, right? These are the whiskers, right? So this is like, if you think of a cat, cat's muzzle, right? This would be its like nose and stuff, and then the whisker coming off each side. Unfortunately, if you have a cat with one whisker, that's probably a cat who's bumming. But anyways, so that's kind of how this works. This dot right here is going to be your minimum. This dot's your max. This is your median, which we said earlier. This is your quartile 1, and this is your quartile 3. So we would call this your lower quartile, and this is your upper quartile. All right? So now what we're going to do is we're going to use what we know about 5-number summaries and figure out those numbers and then just move this stuff where it needs to go. Now, if you don't know what a 5-number summary is, in other words, if you're going straight to this video and you haven't done a 5-number summary before, go back and watch my video on 5-number summaries because it will save you a lot of confusion. All right, so let's get started on this. So I got 17 U.S. cities, which means I'm going to have a nice, easy, clean median in the middle. So that's good. So I can do this thing where I go boom, boom from side to side, right? Or what I can do is I can say, go down one number from the data set. So go from 17 to 16. If it's odd, this works, all right? And half of that's 8. So if I go over 8 numbers, the 9th number is going to be my median, and then I'll have another 8 numbers to the right of that. So it's perfectly in the middle of it. So let's do that. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then this is my 9th. So my median is going to be 66. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to move it, if it lets me, over to 66 and just leave it right there. And now when I do anything else, I'm not going to use 66 anymore. All right, let's move our minimum. Our minimum is 48. So let's take that and move that guy down here. All right, and then 82. We're going to move over. Here you go. Now we are going to, again, ignore our median, and then we're going to find the medians of the lower part of it and the median of the upper part, which is how we find our quartile 1 and our quartile 3. All right, so we said 8 numbers, right? Yeah, we've got 8 numbers. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So my median is going to be between my 4th and my 5th number, right? So if you go in, you go 66, 48, 65, 49, 64, 54, and then 62, 62. So if you're splitting like that, if you got 2 numbers that are splitting, right? Actually, I didn't do that right because I used 66. We can't use 66. I did the one thing I told you not to do. So I have 65, 48, 49, 64, 54, 62, and then 55 and 62. So I apologize about that. So it's between 55 and 62. There's a difference of 7 between 55 and 62. I just went 62 minus 55 in my head, and I got 7. So half of that, half of 7 is 3.5. Half of 6 is 3. Half of 8 is 4. So it's between that, so 3.5. So I'm going to add 3.5 to 55, and that gives me 58.5. So I'm going to take this, the left side of the box, and I'm going to move it over to 58.5. Now I'm going to do the exact same thing with the other side, except I'm going to do it correctly this time. So we have 70. We start with our first 70 and 82, move those in. 70, 81, move in again. 71 and 79, and now we're between 74 and 74. So that's 74. So let's move this over to 74. And then on these, you don't have to find your inner quartile range, right? So this should do it. All right. Let's do one more. All right. Now this one, there's 16. So I'm going to have a median that's not one of the numbers in the set, or if it is, it's going to, be repeating something. So let's do it the easier way, and let's just go over 8, and it's going to be between the 8th and the 9th number. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's between 40 and 43. So if it's between 40 and 43, you just ask yourself, what's the difference of 40 and 43? Well, it's 3. Half of that is 1.5. So we got 41.5. So let's move that to 41.5. That was easy. Minimum is 29. That's an easy win. Max is 55. Let's move that over. Thank you, Max. And then now you can always go to the point if you don't remember what it is. It's 41.5. So that means that from 40 to the left is going to be how I figure out my first quartile or my lower quartile. And 43 to the right is how I'm going to figure out my upper quartile. So we have 8 numbers. So again, it's going to be between the 4th and the 5th one. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's between 34 and 35 for quartile 1. So let's just move that over. There you go. We got 41.5 here. So it's between 43 and 55. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's between 48 and 48. Now you can do the moving in method from the edges if you want, if that works. But it's good to be able to come up with some faster ways to do this. So let's move this over to 48 because that's between 48 and 48. And we're done. So I hope this is helpful to you. Good luck with it, and I think you'll find that even though there's a lot of busy work on these, they're not necessarily hard. So enjoy.